Welcome to another episode of Behind the Dreamers. I'm Jennifer Loading, and we are talking to the achievers, the creators, the magic makers, and the dreamers. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. Well, I am so excited about my guest today. I think you guys are going to be in for an awesome treat. I'll tell you a little bit about him, and then we got to welcome our sponsors. So, my guest today is a Frenchman living in Vienna, Austria, which I think is so fun, around the world. He says he loves cheese and comes from a monolingual French family who's still wondering what's wrong with him, moving abroad, learning 5 languages. He's fluent in all of them, and running an online business rather than getting a job. So I'm already excited just about that little intro. I think you guys are going to love this. And so before I get him on here, I do want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors. So today's episode is brought to you by Walt Mills Photography. If you are a creator needing post-production, consultation, or promotion, Walt is your guy. Whether short films, YouTube films, photography work, or a new headshot, he can help you find a solution to match your needs. To learn more about him and his work, you want to go to photosbywalt.com. We also want to give a shout out to Chris Clow of Upbeat Media Productions. If you are in need of turnkey special event production, Clow is your go-to. To learn more about him and his work, you want to go to upbeatmediapro.com. You would think I'd have that all figured out by now. I say that so many times and it's such a mouthful, right? So anyways, my guest today, I'm going to try to get this right, is Angel Pretot. Am I close? Pretty close.
Amazing.
Okay.
You're doing
all
great.
Right. Is a French learning coach and online entrepreneur. Through his coaching and courses, he helps English speakers learn French fast, become fluent, and live their best international life. After a master's degree and 15 years of teaching and coaching French learners, he's still obsessed with improving his methods. He loves seeing his students learn faster and better and create wonderful lives for themselves. So welcome to the show. I am so excited to chat with you today.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be with you.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And I think we talked offline, which was kind of fun. We got to chat a little bit before we did this, which I think is always amazing because I get to learn a little bit about you guys before I kind of dive in and do some more research. And so I know I shared with you that I did study some French. I'm nowhere near as good as you because it's your language, but every now and then I can read a little bit of it and kind of make out the context of what I'm reading. So I'm just excited to have you here today. I want to say welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's awesome to be here with you.
Awesome. All right. So I thought what we would do, because I think I remember you sharing with me that you were working in tech or IT. You were doing something completely different before. Am I correct?
Yes, I was a support manager. I was responsible for the customer support department in a startup before I created my own online business. Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Were you going to say something else? So, I thought you were going to say something there.
I was just thinking I need to update this little bio that I sent you because actually it's a new year and it's been 19 years now.
19 years?
Yeah, but I did start teaching French a long time before I worked in tech. So there was just a span of time in my career where I was working in startups and in the tech industry. But I was always, at least on the side, teaching with French. So I never really stopped teaching French.
Isn't that funny when I read these bios? I always crack up at these because it's fun when you're on the other end and you get to listen to the bio. I think it's kind of fun, but it never fails. There will be that one where somebody goes, I need to update something in that bio. Like something's different. You know what I mean? Like it's like something we gotta do.
But time goes by. We get old. It's terrible.
When we get busy, right? We get busy in our stuff and then we're like, hey, but hey, either way, 15 years, 19 years, you've been doing it a while.
Just sounds good.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So tell me, how did this come for you? So did you always decide, you were, as a child, you were going to be an entrepreneur and you were going to go into this? Or did you just all of a sudden start feeling this passion and calling to do that? Or did you find a need with people that you knew?
I definitely had the entrepreneur bug when I was a child. I was always trying to sell stuff and things, but it was extremely unappreciated or even disparaged in my French background. In France, it's just not like in the US. In the US, there seems to be a lot of being an entrepreneur is a good thing. Starting a business is more like something that's encouraged. There's definitely a big entrepreneurship culture. In France, not that much. And in my family, not at all. As you mentioned at the beginning, I'm the black sheep of the family. I am the one who just decided to no, like, I mean, I can run my own business. It's okay. I got this. I don't have to have a job, you know?
Good for
So,
you.
yeah.
You're like the rebel, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I
I am
confess
too.
it. I'm the
I get
rebel.
it. So am I. I'm a rebel too. But I did grow up in an entrepreneur family. But it's funny because I've always kind of done things on my terms. I've always had to go a little bit against the
Hmm.
grain, so to speak, at our lingo here. That it's just I can't follow like what everybody does. I've got to just be a little bit different and do my own thing. And
Yes.
I would say on my terms. So good for you. I think that's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yeah, I
And you're
agree. I think it's definitely better to be working on your terms if you can. Uh, it's more fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to call the shots. You can decide.
Yeah.
I always say it's not like as entrepreneurs, we just say, we don't have to put in the work, right? Like we have to do the work, but we do it the way we
Mhm.
want to do it, when we want to do it, and how we want to do it. We get to decide versus someone saying, this is how you should be doing everything along the way.
Yes. I mean, definitely, like as you mentioned, I also have a master's degree, which is in teaching French and creating training courses in French as a foreign language. If I did not have my own business doing that, I don't think I would be able to have a job where I would actually apply, in my field for real, not just teaching, but actually creating training courses and so on. I don't think there's any job that really, but probably it exists, but there are a lot less jobs than graduates where you get to do that and really do it completely, from A to
Yeah.
Z.
Yeah. And you're kind of a one of a kind. There's not a lot of this out there, really.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only one in the world being a French learning
Yeah.
coach for adult
That's,
English speakers
that's so awesome.
who are individuals, like not because there will be a couple of people will do it for big companies,
Okay.
like for example, French companies that will hire abroad, but like for example in tourism, Accor, for example, is a big French hotel group, and they tend to train their staff to work with French tourists. You also have some of that in the medical industry because in some countries, like in Spain and in the Netherlands, for example, you tend to have French people who go to these countries for some medical procedures that they can't have in France. So they will train the staff to speak to the French patients. But outside of these really big companies and very specific fields, no one has actually thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to take my training and I'm going to adjust it for every single client that I have. Like, that was my idea. It
That's
works.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's awesome. And so, how do you find? I'm just curious. I mean, this is like my brain is going right now. So, how do you find your clients? Do they come in from? Are they finding you, or are you finding them?
They are definitely finding me. So I'm doing my best to have content up on YouTube, to be found on Google. I have a lot of clients coming from Pinterest as well.
That's
And
awesome.
definitely people stumble upon something that I've created, a pronunciation course on YouTube, or I have made a couple of videos that are about celebrities. For example, there's one I'm very proud of with Anthony Blinken, who is the
Okay.
American Secretary of State, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he speaks French very, very well. And I made a video breakdown of like the French hacks that you can learn from him. That makes it
Wow.
easier for you to learn French. I'm very proud of this one, and a lot of people just book a free call with me, an application call. I'm like, oh, I found that video, and I think it was amazing. Or I made one with Jodie Foster that people quote a lot as well. And it's really helpful to have video content online, especially if you can
Mm-hmm.
demonstrate your expertise, because then people hopefully will find you. You got to do a bit of SEO work, and but if you can be helpful to your clients through video content, that will be a great way to attract them.
Yeah, and you have great content. I have been on your YouTube page. I did go through there and look at some of your
Thank you.
stuff. So you have really good content on there, and there's a lot. It's not just
Yeah.
a small amount. You've got a lot of really good stuff on there.
I mean, in a week, it will be the anniversary of my business, 7 years. So
Okay.
in 7 years, I've had a little bit of time to make
Yes.
content.
Yes.
I would definitely want to make more because, you can always do more and do better. But yeah, I've been
Yeah.
doing it for a long time.
And I can tell by listening to you and just from this conversation and our previous conversation, you're passionate about what you do, which I think is so important in our line of work
Yes.
because we're all, all of the entrepreneurs that I bring on this show. I mean, if you've looked at any of them, it's just there, you get some that are kind of the same, but there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
variety. And the one
Yes.
universal thing I say about everybody that comes on here is that they are all passionate about the things that they do. Like they genuinely love what they do. And it's so important in what we do.
I think if you don't love it, you cannot stick to it.
Right.
I've never had a job for 7 years.
Yeah.
just didn't happen. Like I've had a lot of teaching jobs, but they were not always in the same place. They would have been here and there. And yeah, you have to be passionate about what you do, especially if it's your business. Otherwise, you quit. Because
Yeah.
it's also not easy.
Right.
So
Right.
if you don't like it and it's hard, just don't do it.
Forget it. Yeah. Just forget it. Move
Yeah,
on. Right.
yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Do
So,
something else.
yeah, find something else you like. So, what led you
Yeah.
to Austria? What did you just decide to move there, or better opportunity, or
Ooh, actually, I moved here twice. The
okay,
first time I moved here when I was 25.
okay,
I found a job as a French teaching assistant that was just right after I got my master's. And I became a French teaching assistant in some high schools in a small village in the mountains.
okay,
It was okay, but I absolutely hated being so isolated in the mountains. But I loved Vienna. So the year after that, I made sure to request to be, transferred to Vienna, so I could still work and live here. And I studied in Vienna 5 years. Different things happened. I ended up working in the tech industry, as I mentioned, and then I lost that job because the tech industry is what it is.
hmm,
Then between that time, I had met my ex-wife. She was my girlfriend at the time,
gotcha.
and she was from Berlin. And
Okay,
she told me, "Oh, you should come to Berlin. Better opportunity, great tech scene." Which, by the way, that is absolutely true. I mean, there's a much bigger startup scene in Berlin than in Vienna. So I did that, and I did indeed find a job that was better. I didn't get promoted because it was a different company, but a step up.
yeah,
So I became the support manager for that company, and I only stayed there for like a few months, like 6 months, I think, because the the leaders of this company had an incredible skill where they managed to convince everybody that they would be better at running a business than they are. And
good, yeah,
within the 1 year after that, almost the whole team left and was like, "Oh, we're just gonna start our own thing," because they were just extremely convincing and like, yeah, like if we can do it, you can do it too. And to be honest, it's something that I will say about online business as well, but it wasn't like that. It was more like it was clear that what they were doing was nonsense,
yeah, yeah,
to put it mildly. But I had missed a key element that meant that they were quote unquote successful, and it would be a lot harder for me when I would have my business. They had 20 million in funding. I had zero.
gotcha.
So that company never brought in a euro or a dollar or any currency, but that was fine because their business model was just throwing money out of the window because the investors were just giving it to them. Because
Gotcha.
tech works like that, apparently, sometimes.
Okay, yeah,
So I had to learn that the hard way. I was like, oh, what do you mean I'm a nobody and I'm not getting funding and I have to make it work on my own? I do not like that. But yeah, I mean, 7 years later, business is still alive. So I think I did
yeah.
fine.
You did good, yeah. Because I think I think that 7 year mark is kind of the mark. Like if you make it that long, because most businesses go under way before that. They
I mean,
don't
most
stick
are
around.
dead in the first 3 years. I think 90% are
Yeah,
dead in the first 3 years.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. So you've got the fighter spirit. I can tell. You always know when you meet people and they've got that. I can do it. And it's funny. I was talking to someone yesterday on the show, and I think I grew up in an entrepreneur household, so I kind of understood. I always joke about this feast or famine lifestyle. I just came
Mm-hmm.
to understand the lifestyle of an entrepreneur, and so
Right.
I've always really looked at this from the angle of that there's always going to be a fire burning. Like there's always something that you need to work
Mm-hmm.
on. You're either really good at
Yeah.
selling and you need to work on your marketing, or you need to work on your closing. There's always pieces that need to be worked on. But your job as an entrepreneur is to, one,
Mm-hmm.
understand that, and to two is to navigate around it. Just assume there's going to be
Yes.
something that you need to deal with, and your job is to figure out how you're going to get around it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can always do better. I do find also that in my business, my job running an online business as a coach is also to make things easier for myself.
Right.
Like, not really assume that it will always be super hard, because if you go from this perspective, yes, it will always be super hard.
Sure.
But I really like to see it as building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm building things for myself, and now I can only work a few hours a week if I want. A lot of the work that I do is not absolutely necessary. It's just building for the future,
Sure.
building a better structure, doing things to improve things. And because I've been doing that for a number of years, now my job, my work is a lot easier because I have templates for everything. I have already like an onboarding process for clients. I have already in my group program, I have a workshop library, which, I launched that program in 2019. And at the time, there was 0 workshops in it. I just launched it. I was like, okay, this is what we're going to do. There will be these workshops, and you're going to help me. You're going to vote for which workshops you want to see. I'm going to create them. And after 3.5 years, I have a big workshop library now with, I don't know, maybe 25 workshops in it.
Wow.
So of course I can tell people, right, so now this is where you're at. I've introduced group classes now as part of the program. So every Sunday we meet, and the people, the clients or the students speak French to me. I give them feedback, and I can tell them, okay, the point where you're at, it's this particular workshop about verbs, or even this section in that workshop, and I recommend you watch it next. And that really, really helps, because a lot of things is built. So I would definitely encourage anyone who wants to have an online business to think of how can you build something that will make things easier for you later. Also because, make no mistake, everything will be harder than you assume at the beginning.
Absolutely.
It's quite the typical entrepreneurship situation.
I'm with you.
So
yeah, I'm with you on all of that, because I'm in the process right now. I'm working with a mentor, and I'm trying to move. I do a lot of face-to-face coaching right now, obviously through Zoom and other methods, but I'm building a program out right now to move that to an online space. And so, yes, I'm with you. The idea obviously is to make your life easier. I mean, that's part of it. And I say, as much as I love coaching my clients, I really do. It takes a lot out of me, because I'm very vested in them. And I always say my coaching is like therapy. So I'm always tired when I'm done. So yes, I am with you on that. How can we make things easier, get systems in place so that you can make things easier for you down the road. So absolutely. Good for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes. And once you have a good process with one-on-one clients, it's relatively straightforward to turn it into a program as well. Yeah. But if you don't have a process and you have to build your programs from scratch, it's so much harder.
Right. With you. Good job. I love it. All that you're doing. It's great. It's good stuff. I had another question, and then I just totally blew my mind away, because I was listening to all that good stuff. So anything new coming up for you? Are you creating anything more that we should be looking for?
I definitely have some ideas of things I want to create in the future, but that's not really coming up soon. So right now, really, I'm on the French learning coaching. So if you're an English speaker, or you speak English even if it's not your native language, and you want to learn French, you definitely can contact me. I have my website, frenchfluency.net. I'm sure you'll have all of that in the show notes. Yeah. And really, those are the two things I do. I do one-on-one coaching with clients, and I have my group program. Everybody who's a one-on-one coachee also gets access to the group program, because I like to, keep it together. So if you have hours with me, once a week, you can also have the group class every Sunday, or for much cheaper, you can just join the group program. And that's really, those are the two things I do. I try to, change it up, add things and so on. And I find it's the way it works.
Yeah.
One day I would love to create a coaching certification to help people become language coaches, because that does not exist at the moment. And in fact, there were no French learning coach before I came up with it. There were a couple of people who called themselves an English coach, for English as a second language, but there was no one for French. And I was like, I can do it.
You can do that. Absolutely.
I created that profession. So I could also create a certification for, coaches of other languages, and, not just being okay, this is your degree, you can be a coach now, but actually building your business. As a language coach, because there are lots of people who teach online who make very little money because they don't know how to position themselves and build something that really showcases their expertise. And when I tell people that I teach French online, they're like, "Oh, that's really tough. You must not be making a lot of money."
You're like,
"Well, I'm okay, actually." But there's more to it.
Right. So this just brings me to another question I just thought of. So you speak 5 languages. What are all these languages?
Yes, 6 if you
okay.
want to count them all. If you count the native language as one, that's 6, yeah.
Right. What else? And English, obviously. What other languages are you fluent in?
So French, English. I have been living in German-speaking countries for 10 years, 11 years now. So German, Spanish, and then we have the 2 that I don't really practice. Those are the 4 I practice on a daily basis, because my girlfriend is Mexican, so
Okay.
Then there's Portuguese, which I learned. I don't think I'm really fluent right now because I haven't been practicing it. And the last one is Esperanto, which is a man-made constructed languages that was created for international communication.
Interesting. I'm impressed. Absolutely impressed. That's a lot of languages.
Thank you.
I know a few people I have a few people I know in my space that can speak a lot of language. I was friends with a girl that actually, I think she lived in France for a while too. And she could speak French
Hmm.
and Spanish, and she had like several different languages. And it's so funny because I would go with her and she'd start speaking Spanish to somebody. And then if she ran
Hmm.
into somebody that did another, she could, and I'm like, how many languages how do you keep them all separated apart? Yeah, I'm impressed. So good
Yeah,
stuff.
that is the reason why I don't speak Portuguese on a regular basis, because I
Yeah.
have a really hard time keeping them apart from Spanish. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
at some point you have to make a choice. There are languages that are useful for your daily life, and there are some that it's okay to keep them on the back burner. And if one day your life changes and you need that language again, you can bring it on.
You can pull it
It's a
out.
lot
Yeah.
easier to bring a language back to fluency if you've had it before. That's something I tell to my clients, because I have so many people who have studied French in school but I've forgotten
Right.
everything, or even people who are like, oh, I was fluent at some point but I've forgotten everything. Like,
Yeah.
it's not really forgotten, it's just that you haven't been using it, so your brain was like, okay, this isn't useful, I'm not going to keep it active. But you
Right.
can make it come back a lot more easily than if you had never
Yeah.
learned it, so
I
it's
never
never
learned
really
it.
forgotten.
That's good. But I'm impressed that you can speak all those languages. And you can,
Thank
I
you.
mean, if you pop up in a different, I mean, if you come to the States, you could probably do okay with Spanish and English because we got a lot of that going on. And I had
Probably.
my grandmother, my dad on my dad's side was from Germany. And so when we were growing up, oddly enough, my dad never really spoke German. I'm sure when he was younger, he
Hmm.
probably did in his house. But, we were growing up, I would hear German language because my grandmother would speak it. It was so funny. I think I laugh about this now. She's no longer alive, but I still laugh about
Right.
this. We always knew when she was talking about people because we could understand nothing. But when we heard names, people's names being dropped, we knew she was talking about somebody. So,
I see.
yeah, so we've had a little bit of languaging in our house too, and
Hmm.
so I think that's awesome and great skill to have. I think
I think
so.
so. I mean, it's also like my work to teach it to people, so.
Sure, yeah, you got to know it. So very cool. So as going from you've had a lot of transitions. You moved from
Oh yeah.
kind of a corporate thing to this online. What do you feel like has been probably the most challenging thing for you making and it can be any transition. It doesn't have to be a specific one that you're like the entrepreneur space, but any transition. What do you feel like has been the most challenging for you?
It's definitely tough questions, because I've had several challenging
Yeah.
transitions, as you mentioned. But definitely going from being an employee to being a business owner, a lot of people say that starting a business is a crash course in personal development, and that's absolutely true. I I would say it's challenging in a good way because it's stimulating, but yeah, it's a situation where you have to learn a lot, learn to pivot fast, and like test your ideas. If you're wrong, change, and change only in a certain way. It's just the first few years of building a business, it's a lot harder than you expect.
Yeah.
And that's also probably why most businesses are dead after 3 years, because people don't expect it to be this difficult. Like,
Right.
at the beginning, I did not expect that building a business online is so much harder than building a business in real life. Most people will assume that like somehow an online business is easy because you have your YouTube ad from like whichever coach who's like trying to sell their training programs, like, yeah, do it easily, like no work at all. And I'm like, no, if you want to build a business that really works, it has to be tailored to what you can do. It has to meet a market need. You also have made it particularly hard for myself with having my clients being very far away from me. I mean,
Yeah.
try to convince a stranger on the internet to send you money. It's
Right.
not
Right.
easy.
Right. Yeah.
It's not easy. Like, I know there are scammers all over the world who just like do that as a carrier, but I don't think they scam very intelligent or very aware people. It's probably mostly people who are not very aware of how the internet works, or like they lie to them
Right.
or something. But you
Sure.
know, I also don't think they have a high success rate. Maybe like they speak to 100 persons and they manage to scam one.
Right. Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not an easy job, and so like, yeah, of course, like I have a legit business, so I have certainly a much higher conversion rate than they do. But first I have to find people, or rather have people find me, and then like have them trust me enough to become my
Right.
clients. And it's just not easy, especially when you're starting. Now, of
Hmm.
course, like as we said, I have a ton of content on YouTube and people see that I'm the real deal. I exist. If you get on a call with me, I look the same as on my videos. I'm a real
Right.
person, and
Yeah.
it's relatively easy for them to find my credentials, find out who I am, and just like make sure that yes, I do deliver what I say I will deliver. I have testimonials on my website and so on. But all of this takes time to build.
Right.
And at the beginning, you don't even know what you really want to do. Like, even if you know, like, okay, I want to teach French, it's still not really a positioning. There are
Right.
hundreds, maybe thousands of people trying to teach French online. You
Yeah.
have to
No.
be more specific than that.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I agree with you. I have a client that I work with that she's originally from Russia and she's living in Spain, and she all her businesses are online. I've actually been working with her for about 3 years now, since early when the pandemic hit. And that I remember her telling me that's one of the most difficult things, more so in the States than in other parts of the world, because here she's like, she says you have to have a website, because she's like, there we just send money and we don't think anything of it, but here everything's done through a website. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, I think, I don't know why, because you're right, I don't, there are scammers, but I don't know how, I mean, how many people get scammed? I don't know. Like, it seems like you could do enough research on some of this stuff to make sure, but I think everybody's so skeptical, right? And so when you have to get into that place, they want
Yeah.
to see websites, they want to see that you're credible and all of that stuff. But
Yes.
that was one of
Also,
the things she
the
she
things
talked
with
about.
scammers is that they almost always impersonate someone else.
Right.
So if
Yeah.
they successfully pretend that they're someone else, then they can use the credentials of that person. But that
Yeah.
person has built the business for real,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they're a celebrity or something.
Right. And they're
If
out
you're
there.
anonymous, no one knows you, you're gonna have some work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good for you for standing strong, because I know that
Thank you.
that's not easy. And every day, I feel like
Yeah.
every time I turn around, I go into my social media platforms and somebody's pretending to be somebody else in an account. It's like every time I get a
Yes.
friend request and I'm looking and thinking, what is this person doing? I know this is not a legitimate account because I'm friends with the person already. And then there's another
Mm-hmm.
account coming through. So I can
Yeah.
imagine it is a real thing to have to deal with, but good for you for sticking around. So, all right. So what have you learned about yourself in this journey?
Oh wow, so much. What have I
It's a
learned about
loaded
myself?
question.
Yeah, it's very loaded. I think I've learned a lot about the way that my brain works and the way that other people's brain works. I definitely know that I'm not neurotypical now. It's not something I knew before I started.
Okay, it's good.
Um, yeah, that's important. I think it's really important to know your own functioning if you want to run a successful business,
Hmm.
because otherwise you're going to burn yourself out trying to do something that's unnatural to you instead of trying to do what comes naturally to you. So that's super important. Um, I've learned a lot about my limiting beliefs, and I've been working on mindset a lot. So I had to undo a lot of things, particularly with regards to money or with regards to work. We
Hmm.
tend to have, for example, hustle culture, which is good and bad at the same time. Because for me, for a long time, I thought that there was like a lot of virtue in just working hard for the sake of working hard.
Right.
After I was burnt out, I had to reconsider my beliefs. And no, actually, there's a lot of value in making as much money as you can with as little work as you can, and in like
Hmm.
being thinking obsessively of how you can leverage what you do, and perhaps some things you have, like a degree or a platform or whatever you can use, which gives you more reach than you would
Yeah.
have just with hard work. Because hard work is sometimes necessary, but I think most of the time it's good if you're trying to, for example, gather data or find something in particular, or just find the things that works. But once you have found the things that work, like if you're still working super hard all the time, you're doing something wrong. Probably 80% of what you're doing is not necessary, and you want to cut down on the work that you're doing, just so you can do more of what's more efficient.
Yeah. No, that's good. I agree with you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I think we do. And I thought that was just our culture. And I don't even know. I feel like now it's not even really a thing about working hard anymore, because you keep hearing about this quiet quitting stuff and everything now. So I don't even know if that is, but I grew up thinking that too. That was how we were raised, that to work
Yes.
hard, right? And there was like some kind of glory in that at the end of the day. But no, I think it's more about being strategic, like you were saying, and making smart moves. It's like playing chess. It's like making smart
Yeah.
moves, set yourself up properly, do the right things. You can work hard when you need to work hard. There are times that you
And
will
also,
need to do that.
Yes, and also like you're mentioning quiet quitting, I think that's really a big difference between working for someone else and working for yourself.
Right.
If you work for someone else, sometimes you just have to work hard because it's your
Mm-hmm.
job,
Right.
and then you want to consider whether you want to keep this job or like do the bare minimum or whatever, make your own decisions. If
Mm-hmm.
you are in your own business, it's a whole different game because you're not working for someone else.
Right.
And at the end of the day, no one is really judging whether you work hard enough or not. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is like, do you have your paycheck? Is your business going to survive? Can you pay your rent or your mortgage or your bills,
Yeah.
basically? And it's a whole different way because if you have a job, you have a salary, and you work to keep that salary, basically,
Right.
and someone tells you what to do. If you're
Right.
building your own business, you have to find out what to do. It's completely different.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Well, this has been fun. I want to ask you a couple fun questions and then we'll wrap this up. This has been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all this. And you said a lot of really good things in there. I think for anybody that's, looking into the entrepreneur space or wanting to create something, you offered a lot without me even saying, offer some advice. You gave a lot of really good advice. So I just want you to know that. So, but I have couple,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I've got a couple fun questions I want to ask you. And so
All
these
right.
will just be fun, nothing to do with work, anything like that. So, all right. So you mentioned that you love cheese. Do
Yes,
you
I'm
love all
French.
cheese? Do you love all cheese, or is there like one you just really, really like?
Well, because I live abroad, I pretty much love all cheese because the ones that I really, really like, I can't get my hands on because they
Oh,
are
gotcha.
like local French
Yeah,
cheese.
gotcha, gotcha.
So,
I like
yeah.
I like cheese too. I like it too. All right, what is your? Let's see, because I see all your books back there. Now we talked about this last time we were on the chat. So what is your? And you maybe you have more than one, but maybe one book that stands out to you that you feel like's been the most helpful in your journey.
Okay, so that would be a lot, but I will go with this one, which is The Language of Emotion by Carla McLaren.
Ah,
This is an incredible book. If you haven't read it, it's even like a handbook, like when you have
yeah.
all the little notes
I
to
see all your
that
notes
it's
in there. Yep, yep.
yes. I've had her on my podcast too, so you can head over to my YouTube channel. There's an interview with
Fun.
her. She's incredible, and like this has been very, very excellent in understanding your emotions, why you have the emotions that you do, and how they support you.
Yeah.
It's not immediately business related, so I'm going to give you a second one that's more like immediately business related.
Well, that one's
Let
good
me
too
just
because I think you need to deal with that in life too.
yes, yes. So this
Helps
is
you
the
be a
new
better
edition of
business
it.
leader.
Yeah, this is the new edition of it. There was a previous version, so it was previously called Chillpreneur, so I used to recommend the other version. This is Chill and
Yeah.
Prosper by Denise Duffield Thomas. She's
Okay.
absolutely excellent. She's my money mentor. She has a online group program which is called Money Bootcamp, where you learn about money mindset. And she really like is all about working smarter and adjusting your mindset so that your business can be successful. I can safely say that I wouldn't be where I am nowadays without her. So that's super important. So yeah,
Awesome.
two books
Well,
for
thank
you.
you for sharing. This is my favorite part. We get a whole book list on this part of the podcast. I got somebody told me 3 books yesterday, or maybe it was more than 3, but I knew one of them and said I didn't know anything about those. So it's always helpful because if other people are looking for resources or if I want to find a book, I just ask you guys
Right.
what you're reading. See? So
Yep.
awesome. All right. One last question I want to ask you. So when you're not doing your French and coaching and doing all your things, what do you like to do for fun? What's the other fun stuff in
Oh,
your life?
I like astrology a lot. It's
Oh, yeah.
something for the longest time until the age of more than 35. I was absolutely not a believer. I just
Yeah.
didn't see how it could work. But one day I was hanging out on TikTok and I stumbled upon a couple of videos and I was like, wait, what? And I, I fell into that rabbit hole, and it's really, really fascinating because like to quote Chris Brennan, who's like one of the most influential astrologers of our time, astrology shouldn't work, but it does.
Interesting. I just
And
finished coaching a client that was an astrologer. I just wrapped up yesterday
right,
with her. Yep, very dynamic person.
yes, and it's absolutely fascinating the work with archetypes, the patterns, and so on. So yeah,
Yeah, very
that's
cool.
something I'm definitely into, and I do a lot of personal growth stuff, as you can see with all the
Yeah,
books.
yeah.
Because yeah, I like energy work a lot. I actually have some energy work videos on my YouTube channel to help people with learning French. I do a
Okay.
lot of meditation. I have
Yeah,
meditation tracks as well on my YouTube channel.
yeah.
Um, Yeah.
That's awesome. I do remember you mentioning that to me. We talked about that, I think, when we were off. So good for you. That's
Right.
awesome. Yes, and meditation is so good. I studied that too. So I believe it's definitely a helpful and beneficial in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. So
It's absolutely super helpful. Like it's incredible how versatile it is and the number of ways that you can adjust it to help you in your life. Um, a lot of people would tend to think that it's just, sitting there and thinking of nothing, which is a way of meditating, but there are so many more options.
yeah, very cool. Well, you are awesome. Love what you're doing. I
Thank
know you
you.
mentioned this earlier in the show, but I want you to say it one more time. So, if our audience, because there may be somebody out there going, hey, I want to take up French again or maybe learn it, where do we want to send them?
Yes, so my website is frenchfluency.net, so you will find all the information there, and you can always book a 30-minute free call. It's called French Coaching Application Call, right? You can get actually directly there, frenchfluency.net/call, but also you will find all the information about my programs on frenchfluency.net/accelerator. That's my group program. Or there's also frenchfluency.net/transformation, which is my one-on-one program. But
Awesome.
you'll find all the links in the website. If you just go to frenchfluency.net, you can navigate to the different pages. I think it's relatively easy to find.
All right, perfect. We'll make sure too
Great.
when it goes out, we'll get all the links on there so that everybody knows how to find you.
I mean,
So
I'm available. You can always comment on my YouTube videos or leave me a comment anywhere. I will most likely answer. There's a chance that the algorithm will hide them from me, but generally I do manage to answer. So yeah.
awesome. Well, very cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us and being authentic and real and telling us all the good stuff and the challenging stuff too. I'm always about being
Yep.
real and saying because this is a journey that we're on, and there's always the good and the bad. Mostly good, but there's always the other stuff we got to talk about too. So thank you so much for that.
It's important to not gloss it over, yes, because
I
we
agree.
paint a picture that people won't be able to find in real life, and I think it's important so people know what to expect.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for having me, Jennifer.
Absolutely. And so we do want to say to our listeners, of course, if you enjoy our show, check us out on Facebook, give us a rating on iTunes. Also, head on over to our YouTube page, click subscribe. And with that, I want to leave you guys with a final thought. In order to live the extraordinary, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. You guys take care, be safe, be kind to one another. We will see you next time.